Hello and welcome to UX TV, powered by Data Meaning and brought to you by Lori Weiss. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you something that inspires me as a designer, and that is typography. So, what is typography? It's basically what language looks like. However, it's more than just reading words, it's about feeling the words and understanding the meaning that they're trying to convey. Let's face it, there are tens of thousands of fonts out there, and each one of them has their own personality. With this many options, why does it matter which one we choose? Why can't we just pick the one we like? Well, because as you see here, sometimes the one that we might like isn't always the most appropriate choice for the situation, because typography can influence your perception of what you read. As designers, it is our job to simplify the work for our users, and by using good typography, we're actually helping our users take in information, and that decreases the cognitive burden. Good typography also holds the reader's attention longer and puts them in a better mood because they are reading effortlessly without distraction by the font, thus focusing more on the content. Now I'm going to share with you an interesting study done by Microsoft and MIT called The Aesthetics of Reading. In the study, two groups of participants were given the same article to read. The first group, their article was set in a classic, easy-to-read serif typeface, similar to what we're used to seeing in a newspaper. The second group's article was set in a font that looks like it just came out of an old-fashioned typewriter. Because of the equal space around each letter and justification, there are a lot of gaps and white space in this paragraph. This breaks up the flow of reading. After reading the article for 20 minutes, both groups were given the same cognitive task. The participants were a little confused because it was not relevant to the reading at all. However, they just did the task, and guess what happened next? Interestingly enough, the group who read the article in the good typography performed substantially better than the group who read the bad typography. Even though the content was exactly the same, the differences in the results were subconscious because the readers of the good typography's brains were better prepared for cognitive and creative thinking, because the bad typography was such a struggle to read and created a cognitive burden for the readers. So even if you're not a designer, you can still pay attention to typography. This way you can always ensure your readers will be satisfied. I'll share with you a few best practices to use in your everyday life. First thing you want to do is pay attention to the mood and tone of what you're designing. Who will read it? How do you want them to feel? In this example, which bank would you trust with your money? See how the playful font immediately makes you feel like the establishment is less secure and serious. That's why mood and tone is very important. Another critical thing to keep in mind is your contrast and hierarchy. This means what stands out to you. In this example, nothing is really jumping out at us and we don't really know where to begin reading. However, using good contrast and hierarchy makes the important information come forward and guides your eye through the rest of the reading. Lastly, you want to limit the number of different fonts you use. Just like too many cooks can spoil the pot, too many fonts spoil the design. You've probably come across ads like this in the newspaper, and you know that you just want to turn the page and not even read them. This is because there's too much going on here and it's very distracting. A more effective use of typography is to stick with around 3 fonts maximum. As you see here, there are 3 different fonts being used, however, they all work together harmoniously and complement each other. And one of the fonts even has a variety of weights to use to emphasize different words. That's another thing you can keep in mind. When choosing a font, choose one with a variety of different weights. It's called a large font family, and this way you'll be able to do more with it. So that's basically the top 3 best practices that I recommend using in your everyday life. Even for the non-designers out there, if you remember these tips for your emails, resumes, and basically any kind of document that you create, you're definitely going to stand out in the crowd. Typography really makes a big difference. I hope you learned something, and I thank you for watching. If you're interested in the study, you can check out the link here. Thank you.